Hey, what's up, gangsters, vigilantes, and villains? And welcome to a Nerdy Bunch weekly review for The Penguin. Today, we're here to talk about the premiere episode, and help me get rid of a dead body after this is my co-host Andrew. What's up, Andrew?
But only during the day. Avoid Batman.
Of course. The spin-off series which is a spin-off of Matt Reeves' The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson. And I will say, first piece of advice, it's not a must, but I would say it's a good idea to have revisited or watched that film before watching this. And the synopsis is as follows. The death of Carmine Falcone and a post-flood crime wave motivates Oz Cobb to fill the power vacuum left in the criminal underworld of Gotham City, while Falcone's children attempt to keep their family together. Episode 1. This is a show that we've been looking forward to ever since The Batman. So going into this and coming out of this, spoiler-free, Andrew, what were your feelings?
I very much enjoyed this. It wasn't a slow burn, right? I actually feel like we covered a lot of ground. I was like, was it 2 episodes? Not in a bad way, like it dragged on, but I feel like we got through a lot of the aftermath of the Batman, setting up of like some of the characters in this series, right? And then just classic Gotham crime families being pitted against each other. It was nice to see this Penguin. I think Colin Farrell's already delivering a great acting performance, right? Like I was locked in. I wanted to know more about his background, which is a little bit different from some of the comics, right? It had elements of like both the Batman and the Gotham series, which I liked. Also just seeing more about Oswald himself, right? He's kind of like a layered character. And yeah, those are my initial thoughts without any spoilers.
I enjoyed this pilot as well. I think I was predisposed to liking it because I really love the Batman and the world that movie has set up. And I thought this was a good continuation. I like the focus on Oz because, as established in the Batman, he's not even B-list tier.
Yeah.
He's kind of like low level. No one pays attention to him. And so seeing that journey from that and going through this to see that kind of rise to power. Now there's a power vacuum.
Yeah.
He's kind of through various circumstances trying to snatch that from himself through his weaving kind of way. He's not a direct kind of person.
Not at all.
He uses his physical hindrances, as a positive thing. He doesn't let that hold him back.
Yeah.
Kind of allows that to let people underestimate him. But though at times he overestimates himself, he's not quite perfect as this, like, he's definitely a great villain or great boss. He's still on that journey. There's those narratives where it's like, oh, there's a person who's underestimated, but they're secretly amazing. No one knows.
Yeah.
He's not amazing. Let's not.
This isn't Slade Wilson.
Right? No. But we can see the journey of how he gets his position of power. And what I like about this, it's already confirmed we won't be seeing Batman or Bruce Wayne in this.
Yeah, I hope they completely retcon. Like, I hope they surprise us and we do see him. By the way, I know we won't, but that'd be if this was me, I'd be like, oh no, he's not going to show up. And then last episode, bam.
But I think even if we don't,
but there's sense. No point. We don't need him here. And but also, we'll get into that.
Even in the context of the narrative, right? One, Batman himself has seen that Oz is a nobody, right? He thought he was a somebody in the movie. He realizes he's just a nobody. So he's not going to be focusing on him.
For now.
And Batman himself, knows that there's a power vacuum and there's a lot of things to deal with.
Yeah.
On top of the fact that the city's being flooded, there's going to be lots of help to be given in different
bigger
places.
Problems.
Right. And these are more small-time problems by comparison. And even in the opening line of that original movie, Batman says, I can't be everywhere at once. And this is before the shit hit the fan, so to speak. So it does make sense. Maybe you might hear of him or see kind of the aftermath of something that Batman was involved in.
Or keep tabs on him, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I don't think you need to see him, and I agree on that. Colin Farrell, he does a great job. And I think this show, and because he can spend more time on screen, we get to see him deal with the physicality of the character, right? The way he moves, the way his gestures, his mannerisms. I think there's more effort put here than in the movie because he spends more time with the character, to the point where, I don't know about you, but I know it's Colin Farrell, But every time I watch his scenes, I'm like, what does Colin Farrell look like again? I
Yeah,
literally forget what he
it's
looks
like
like.
just formed his face in my mental eye.
Like, I'm always like, this shouldn't win awards for for hair and makeup. That's not makeup. That's a real person. I don't see it
That
as
yeah,
makeup.
no, 100%. I also see why he completely hates the suit and never wants to wear it again.
Right.
Right? Because they did a great job for sure. I
Right.
watched the behind the scenes as well.
There's one thing having one good actor. I think he's surrounded by a great supporting cast of characters. I think every single one of them so far is interesting.
Yep,
Right.
100%.
Highly recommended. So check it out and keep listening to this podcast every week for our thoughts. All right, let's go straight into it. We started talking already about the Penguin himself, but let's go further. What did you think of seeing Penguin's narrative from the inciting incident with Alberto being so happy and then realizing, shit.
Yeah,
and then,
great acting, right? And not saying that. I think yeah, I think I was really convinced from the ha ha ha. Yeah, like
um,
it was a great scene, like the conversation, the reasons, and then later on him explaining to his mom why, and it's given us more about the penguin psyche, right? Because he's grown up disfigured, probably mocked, not probably, definitely mocked, bullied,
definitely.
underestimated, and all that. So like the concept of someone laughing at him, I can see how it would just like, make his eyes go red. And
Mhm.
I wasn't expecting, I don't know what I was expecting, but I was not expecting him to kill him. So it definitely, it was a surprise and a nice surprise. And it's an interesting layer to kind of see this type of villain who, like you said, this isn't the, Joker or anyone else who's like a master of the villainy field.
Mhm.
He is a little penguin waddling around, but but such a mastermind, right? I think that's one of the things we all know about the penguin is that he kind of makes up for what he lacks with his tactics. I'm not going to say mastermind like he's the smartest, but he is very tactical, right? And it was just nice to see him like drop breadcrumbs. The whole plan, setting up the Maronis.
Oh, that was brilliant.
It was all just very it was very well done, and I like even that he had to rely on someone else, right? It kind of added that realism to it.
Mhm.
And the initial scene where the kid was stuttering and he was like, that both the acting and the scene itself, right? You could see him having, for me, it was kind of like pity on him, right? Almost like recognizing that wow, this kid has a speech impediment, feels like me and my physical impediment, and like they kind of bonded from that, and just all the way up to the end. It's like I'm excited for the season. I want to see what he gets to when he has more time to make such plans, right?
Mhm.
And especially, sorry, my favorite character, Sophia Falcone, so
Mhm.
far, like every time she was on this scene, it was just I literally can see like Arkham tatted on her forehead. She looks crazy, man. She like her
Yeah.
crazy eyes, the way I like that she's smart as well. Like she figured him out super quickly, right? And also kind of like set him in traps to figure
Mhm.
more stuff out. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like she knew and then like went crazy immediately. She
Mhm.
peeled back the layers and figured it out. But then obviously now she thinks it's the Maronis, but I'm all but sure that it's all gonna, be found out later. And that's what I'm really curious about in this show. How they're gonna weave everything together and what we're gonna see of the criminal underworld.
No, no, I mean, we'll come back to Penguin, but let's go to Sophia Falcone. Her entrance was fantastic. She has this kind of there's a tension when she's around, like you're scared but you don't know why,
Yeah,
right? Because the way she carries herself, like she's not a physically imposing actress, but just the way she carries it, there's like this fear
crazy
that
eyes.
exactly, and she knows, but she's not quite sure how to prove it. But she knows, like when she's like, "I'm going to ask you again. Do you know what happened to my brother?" I was like, "Oh, sure." You thought he got away, but when she asks him for, "Oh, let's go out for lunch right now," yes, now. It's just like, oh shit.
Yes, well, yes, ma'am. And even the way she was eating her lunch, right? It was a nice touch as well, because
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
she's been Arkham, like starved, and she was just scoffing them down like a barbarian.
And being very aware how people see her.
Mhm.
Right. She's not oblivious to that. And she
Mhm.
almost kind of uses that as power. Right. I love that. I loved her reaction to seeing her brother's dead body. That scream she lets out. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
someone's mad.
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
shit.
yeah. That scream was deep at the end. I can't wait to see what chaos she causes.
And like you said, she may she may think now it's the Maronis who did it, but she still always said that, she's aware that everyone underestimates Cobb. Right. So she's still going to keep an eye on him.
Yeah, for sure.
She's still very much aware that he's an opportunist, right?
Hmm.
He's going to try and take wherever he can, do whatever he can. And even if it's subtle about it, like Alberto mentioned, Falcone knew that Cobb was skimming off the top, but would allow it.
Yeah.
It's just a form of control and power, which I think that's something that this series kind of juggles, this narrative of control and power and how it looks like to different people,
Hmm.
right? That's how Maroney would use power against Cobb by allowing him to feel like he's taking some off the top. And then
Yeah.
even when Oz is talking to Alberto about his dream about the gangster he used to know growing up, right? He had power through being nice to the neighborhood.
Hmm.
That's how he gained power. Because he even says to Alberto, there are many forms of power,
Hmm.
right? And there's different kinds of form of power. And I think this story is Oz trying to find his form of power.
Yeah.
What does that look like? He spends a lot of time being reactionary, right? He reacts
Hmm.
and he's very quick. If something happens, he reacts, right? He knows how to switch and change his mind. But I think now he's getting to the point where it's like, okay, I can't just be reactionary. I need to be ahead of things and start planning, right? Because when the bosses say to him, "Oh, we're stopping the operation," he's like, "What the hell?" He has to
Yeah.
react. He has to react. He has to
Yeah.
react. Now he can't just be relying on other people. And I like that he's a character that's, for better or for worse, always wants to prove himself. Even when they get on the train, he doesn't want to sit in the handicapped area. Even though he deserves to sit there,
Hmm.
he's someone that has a problem with his leg, and so
Yeah.
situations like that, Ovi wants to prove himself. And I love the narrative with his mother. What do you think of that
Yeah,
scene with
I
the
was
mother?
just thinking about that. It was good because that's part of what's different, right? Which is also funny because I think because we just watched and reviewed Batman Capes Crusader.
Hmm.
Um, I was getting fuzzy on Penguin lore in my head. I was like, wait, I was like, aren't they
Isn't
like
he a woman?
British and yeah, isn't he a woman? Exactly that sentence. But then they're usually from more wealthy upbringings, right? Like he has a
Yes, yes,
little
yes,
chip on his shoulder. But this
yes.
seems this and that's my brain overthinks. I was like, this is either a different take on the character or dum 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 surprise in the future. You are the
Mhm.
long lost king of England. But that aside, I thought his mother was really good. Even when he just the whole scene with him having to come clean about killing
Yeah.
Falcone's son. The way it went down, the way she even put it together, and he was like, "Yeah, he laughed at me," and she was just like, come on,
Are
boy,
you a little pussy boy?
yeah, come on, man. I thought that was really good, and it almost does kind of rhyme with the same Batman Cape Crusader Penguin lady.
Hmm.
But I like that. I like that tension, and I'm curious. I feel like we're gonna get a little bit more. It's almost like did you ever watch Bird Notice? Can't believe I'm
Of course,
referencing this.
great show,
I think
great
it
show.
was like his mother,
Oh,
like just like all those kind of like shut up boy, like get over yourself, Michael. Like, anyways, so yeah, I really enjoyed their chemistry, and I'm curious to just learn more about just this version of Oz Cobb, as we're calling
Mm.
him, and if they're going to explain that, is this I don't know, has this been discussed outside of this
Well,
show?
it's been
Is that
discussed outside of the show in sense
yeah,
of and even in the Batman, he was Oscorp because
yeah,
they wanted to ground the name more than Cobblepot.
yeah,
Because I think part of that is the fact that he doesn't come from, because Cobblepot sounds like a
British
wealthy
royalty.
aristocratic
Hmm.
name, whereas Cobb just sounds normal, and they want to kind of normalize him as
Yeah,
opposed
I
to
think it'd
having
be
this kind of
interesting to touch on that, like
yeah.
to actually like thematically mention it, like they
Mm,
threw off the couple pot or the pot because of X
mm.
Y Z. But anyways, that's neither here nor there.
I do like that he expects, and we expect the mother to react like, "I can't believe you're a criminal," blah blah blah, and
Mhm.
she's the complete opposite. It was just like, "This belongs to you. This is
Yeah.
going to be your city,"
Yes.
and it must begs the question: does his roots within the criminal gangster empire, does it go further than even he knows? Did his mom set him up to be that person,
Mhm.
or did he find that path on his own?
Yeah, because that's not just like a I feel like you're right. She had to have some kind of backing in such an organization, or
Hmm.
in her own field was a
Hmm.
gangster
Hmm. Hmm.
to
Hmm.
kind of instill that kind of confidence in
Yeah,
in your son.
yeah.
Like,
That was not impulse. That was instinctual.
yes,
So
that
she
was the
says,
word. Yes, it was
yeah,
instinct exactly.
yeah.
Like, and I like that. I like that we get to almost see it's the vulnerability, right, of these
Hmm.
villains. I don't. We don't. I don't say don't often, but it's nice to see a villain's mother, because
Hmm.
a mother almost like makes you softer towards a person, right? If you're
Hmm.
seeing
Hmm.
them in their vulnerable space, but it's like, I mean, this isn't a good guy. I mean, Penguin isn't
No,
necessarily the worst of the worst. But yeah,
still murders people.
yeah, like still psychotic. And you almost feel for him in that instance, but then in the larger scheme, you're like, wait, what? So, and it's funny we're reviewing this after Agatha, because this is like
I was gonna
villain
say,
villain
yeah,
season right now.
yeah, a villain season with no redemption in
Yeah,
sight, and in a good way. I
like
like
bad
that.
people doing bad things.
And even looking at his plan, I totally forgot that because the Batman establishes that Falcone ratted in on
The
Maroni.
Maronis, yes.
I, for some reason, thought Sal Maroni, who's the head, was killed. I didn't realize he's still in jail.
Yeah,
I was like, oh yeah, of course he's still in jail. So
yeah.
that I like that he's still around, and I like the ploy that Penguin does,
Ah,
where
so
he's like,
good.
oh,
The
here's your
ring.
ring back, so you
Yeah,
can trust me. But all that was
yeah.
just as a ploy to kind of set them up. Brilliant plan.
Chef's kiss, honestly, yeah. I,
Brilliant
I,
plan.
I have to say that, and then the payback written on the car. It was just like
Right, right.
that, like stroke of little genius.
Plants the seeds where it's like goes to the Maroney's like, they're talking shit about you and they had your ring. You should do something. you know,
Like,
like
I wouldn't take that. That's all I'm saying. You can do whatever you want, but
I'm just saying. And if you don't, and then just like about to walk away and then just like dropping the mic by giving, oh, by the way, I have
yeah.
this.
Which is it's
Just
like a power thing, right? Like he dragged the comment, because it might not have been the same if he came, dropped the ring, and
yeah,
then had to explain. No, it was like,
no, no,
I'm gonna have this conversation. I'm gonna get Maroney to his most, like, I don't know, cocky or whatever, and then dunk on you
yeah,
and
boom, and
leave
then
you with
walk
your
out.
thoughts.
All right, we
So
touched
good.
on the character. Let's go into it. I found interesting the relationship between Oz and Vic.
Uh-huh.
Right, Vic is this kid, wrong place at the wrong time, trying to steal those rims. And I love later on when Oz was like, "You could have come here and taken all these rims without any
Yeah,
issues."
right. Like,
Stupid kids.
oh yeah, the
and, and
sub banter is so good.
and you were very right in
Mhm.
saying that. I read an interview that the reason why he felt for the kid is because the kid had a stutter, and it reminded him of himself of having some kind of impediment that
Pediment.
people might make fun of you for,
Yeah.
and kind of not necessarily seeing himself in this kid, but kind of seeing. He got. I like the way he get pissed. It's like you got. You kids, you have no vision, not thinking ahead of the
Mhm.
future, right? And not saying to him that you can be a good kid. It's like you're
No.
not you're not evil enough. You don't
Yeah,
have
like,
big goals as a villain.
and
What is
he's like,
wrong
you
with
have
you?
2 legs. I feel like he's like, you guys have 2 good legs. Like, trust me, boy. If I had good legs right now,
I'll be running up these
oh
streets.
my god.
You guys, all you're doing is so small minded, just stealing people's
Steering
rims.
rims.
That's it. Shh. You can take rims for free. You can do bigger than that, and I like that dynamic, and it's almost interesting where this series to me was pitched as the journey of Oz becoming this villain, but I almost think low key it's this journey of Vic becoming a villain. I
Is,
don't
is
I
he a
don't know.
character? Do we know?
I haven't done enough deep research in any lore to know if he's anyone that's an established character, but I wouldn't be surprised if he becomes an established character that we know and you realize, oh shit, this whole time Vic was so and so. I think we're
Yeah.
seeing the actual journey of a villain through Vic, see that growth,
Mm,
seeing that when Vic's like, don't kill me. I have
yeah.
potential,
Yeah.
just give me a chance.
Yeah.
I
And
love that because it's not necessarily don't kill me, please, so I can be alive. It's like, let me prove myself. Like he
yeah.
actively, slowly, you see him wanting to prove himself as this gangster villain type
Yeah.
character. What do you think
I
of
can
Vic
do
and Oz?
I can do bad shit.
Yeah, right.
Especially at the end when Oz was like, "Wait, why did you change the plan? Right? You're meant to bring the head and the ring." And he was like, "Yeah, I mean, I love that scene." I was like, "I was trying, like, how would you cut the neck? Like, do you cut past the trachea? Or like it's a very real thought that semi psychotic but semi
Right,
perfect for that type of job, because
right.
like he was so specific, almost surgical, right? To the point of um like I said, psychoticness.
Right.
Let me just use that word. So I enjoy that, like you said, we're kind of seeing the growth of Vic in this criminal
Mm-hmm.
organization, right? And I don't know what that translates to.
Mm-hmm.
You could even, you know, they could do anything. You could even be killed off to give Penguin some character, you know,
Mm-hmm.
sadness to push him over the edge. Who knows? Many
Mm-hmm.
things, but I probably would more guess your guess, and I'm curious to see. And I think the stutter was just a nice. It's almost like they're a special pair that are different from everyone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of gives them like an extra. It's like a different type of body cop, like I said. So I enjoyed their banter. Curious to see what more comes from it, because again, his timing was perfect. Oz would have been completely cooked at the
Mm-hmm.
end, right? But the plan was only as good as Vic's execution. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so
It's funny.
I'm excited.
It's funny you talk about the body because it doesn't sound like he was complaining about cutting the head off because you're cutting off a human head. It
No,
sounded like he was complaining more about the inconvenience of it all.
yeah, like, it was just like probably hard to like do. So, like you have to get a
Hmm.
special knife. Just like no,
And
maybe I
I like
prefer the
that,
stomach.
and I like that it establishes two things. One establishes that due to the flooding, his family is probably all gone, so he has no one else that's going to
Mhm.
look for him. And two, in connection to that, it does a great job of establishing that only specific types of areas within the city were affected.
Yeah,
Yeah, people upstate in their nice homes, they're fine.
yeah.
They're okay. They're big houses. They're cool.
Bruce is fine. Trust
Yeah,
me.
right. Right. The people in power are fine. It's the regular people, like that will create people like Vic, right? The disenfranchised, and you almost feel sorry for Vic, even though you see him going down this path of becoming a villain. You
Yeah,
understand his plight more so than Oz, because Oz was already down this path before shit hit the fan,
yeah,
right? Whereas Vic is doing it because he has nothing else,
yeah. He
right?
needs to eat.
So I really like that kind of using Vic as the person we really empathize with, regardless of where he goes, rather than it being cops. I like that a lot. I'm curious to see what's going to set up in the future. Are we going to see other characters from like Gotham PD, like James Gordon? Are we
Gordon,
going to see him?
I feel like we have to for sure.
Right.
Like, almost would be a waste.
Agreed. I like seeing more of, again, I talked about in the spoiler free segment, Colin Farrell's physicality, right? You see his
Right.
full body,
Right.
right? When he's getting tortured with the arm part. I was like, ooh. See,
Yeah.
and the body looks real. Even the scene with the foot, when he's massaging his foot, that physical aspect of the character. And just like you understand his struggle when he's just trying to move the body because of his physicality. Just like everything to it. I can see
That,
the effort that the actor put. That's why I don't believe it's a suit. It feels like a real person.
That's too good. It does, and just on even the moving, because when they were moving the body of Falcone's son, what's his first name? Albert? I keep forgetting
Alberto.
Alberto. Yeah, when they're
And
moving
and and
Alberto's body.
and in this instance, because I know different iterations of Batman does this. Sometimes it's Falcone, sometimes it's Falcone.
Falcone.
It's the same thing as Ra's al Ghul. Sometimes it's Ra's, sometimes it's Raz,
Raz.
depending on who's saying it.
Tomato.
But yeah,
Tomat.
yeah. So I've had to. I think the animated stuff says Falcone. I believe so. So I feel like I'm used to Falcone than
And even
Falcone.
the Christian Bale movies are Falcone, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Christian Bale movie. Yeah,
I can hear it. I
yeah.
can literally hear the Falcone. So that's what I'm sticking to. Like, argue with yourself. But when they're moving Alberto Falcone's body, and they waited till the daytime, I was like, look at these punks avoiding Batman. But it's also so funny because I'm like, that's so true. Yeah, that dude's asleep during the day,
Right.
or like pretending to be in a board meeting.
Right. It makes so much sense,
Perfect
actually.
time for crime.
No, it is.
Yeah. So good.
But yeah, I'm curious to see Sophia in action and see the Falcones versus the was it Maronis,
Maroni's.
and see if there's gonna be, because we've only seen head Maroni Sal. We haven't even seen if he has offspring or anyone who's not in prison. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll see some stuff there, and the
Yeah.
power vacuum that's gonna be created. That I'm curious if we'll see any other characters within Batman lore that we haven't seen in the movies. I'm excited. I'm into this. I'm curious. I'm not really someone who's super into gangster style narratives. For me, it needs something more, and this
Hmm.
show seems to be giving me that more.
Yeah, so far already, and like so, I'm
Yes.
expecting the huge wide world. I'm honestly, I'll just call it now. I'm expecting the Gordons, maybe just Jim, but I don't know.
True.
I'm expecting Hugo Strange. He just feels like it feels like
Ah.
this is a Hugo Strange type of world, man. Like
Mm.
it's just somewhere there. Um, Gotta leave. I don't know. I feel like every Batman show has to have in the contract that you have to leave a card, like a Joker card, just somewhere on screen. Doesn't even matter where. Put it in the gutter, right? Just remind people that this city is not safe. And who knows? Because again, the Batman has such a wide villain arsenal. Clayface and all the likes. And I do want them to keep dropping Easter eggs, if that makes sense. But don't force it. But also start to take things away from the Batman every time, and continue to just remind us of all the little like silos of power and different like villain groups that there are, and Firefly, whatever his name is, like just all the people that exist in this crazy town of Gotham, and almost like be a setup to the next movie, right? Like I want this show to end, and I want to be like shaking, waiting for the new movie to come out, right? That's kind of what I'm expecting. I think they can do it while just following this Penguin thread.
I think this is a show in terms of characters that could make sense. I feel like we could get Harvey Dent,
Mm-hmm.
as district attorney.
Yep.
In this, not necessarily Two Face, but I feel like we could set up Harvey,
Harry for sure. Mm-hmm.
for sure. I think we could bring in, depending on how they depict her, we could have Barbara Gordon
Yeah.
if they want to bring her in. I think that's a character you could have. But yeah, I'm curious to see what if and then if we seen the main players in this power vacuum,
Yeah.
or are there others that we haven't seen yet?
Yeah.
I also think at the very least, someone either representing the police or the governmental figure is going to be in on it because it's
Yeah.
established that they were also dirty,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I feel like we're going to have someone that represents that. But I'm curious, are we going to get other known villains part
I
of
was
this
gonna, I was
power
gonna
vacuum?
say like I don't think this will happen, but it would be kind of randomly cool to see Sophia somehow call like Dr. Arlene Quinzel
Oh,
or something
okay,
like
true,
that.
true,
That
true, true.
yeah, I just felt like I need some help, doctor, and she's like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, we
yeah,
talked about this. Like even
yeah.
if it's a 2 second call, I feel like again,
Mm.
but there's so much they can do, and I don't want to put the pressure on them to do it, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, true,
But
true.
it's just like I see it, guys. Come on, just do it. Connect it all. Don't let this be. This is not the same as Agatha, right? For people who didn't watch that, like that, I want to kind of be away from everything else.
Yeah,
Whereas I
yeah.
want this to be like existing into everything else and connecting the dots that the movie doesn't. Like I don't want the movie to get into some of this detail, but I want this show to do that.
What if Victor is low key a future Victor
Like,
Freeze?
oh, because I was thinking, yeah, like I was
I
like, what Victor is there in Batman?
but I doubt that because I feel like they would have established him as a scientist or understands some level of science, unless
Yeah,
they completely changed the character.
the other one was Victor Saz, the crazy dude.
Yeah,
But I don't even know how that age. I don't know. Maybe Saz is a possible one.
never know, never know. What do you nerdies think? Did you enjoy this pilot episode? How do you think of it as a follow up to the movie? And what do you think the future holds for this character and this narrative? Find us on social media at the Nerdy Bunch. You can also email us some of your thoughts and questions to our email, which is the Nerdy Bunch Podcast at gmail.com. Anything else?
No, just that literally after I said it, I'm doubling down on the Victor Saz.
No?
Can't say his name,
Okay.
gosh, but yeah, that's I don't know any other Victor that exists, but I could see that. I could see that. And yeah, nice show, excited, and just Colin Farrell. If you ever hear this, just please just do it again. Put on the suit again, please.
On that note, thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, David.
My name's English Dave, and this has been a Nerdy Bunch weekly review for The Penguin, which has one episode currently airing on Max. Check it out. And as always, Andrew,
Keep it nerdy.
peace.